Good evening and welcome to the A Game Plan. I want to be sure that people are already on the call. So if you are just joining or if you've joined us, can you just say something in the comments so that we'll be sure that you're with us and we can continue. I can't go forward if we don't comment. So if you know that you're on the call already, just indicate, say something in the comments so that we can go on. When we have a handful of people, we'll just continue. Yeah. Okay. Oluwaseun is saying yes, we can. Welcome, Sheon. Welcome, welcome. Good evening. Thank you so much for keeping the time. It's 4 minutes after 6. Thank you so much. I need more comments. I think when we have like 10 more comments, we just go on. So please, if you're on the call, just help us and just say something in the comments so that we can continue. We can't start with just sharing online. The event, we had over 300 persons register, over 350 persons register. So out of that number, if we have up to 10, okay, Nengs is saying yes, we can. So more yes, we can, and then we just go on. Thank you so much for joining. I'm grateful. Welcome to the A Game Plan once again. Okay, Swintech, good evening. Miracle Emmanuel, good evening. Thank you so much for joining in. I am grateful. Thank you. Okay, Delight, good evening. You're welcome as well. We have 5 now, so we're waiting for the next 5 persons. I hope you all had a great day and happy new month as well. Today is just the 3rd of February and it's not too late to say welcome to a new month. Welcome to February. Ruth, good evening. I'm so glad you're here. Olajide, good evening as well. You're welcome. Oh, yeah. Of course, we're starting. Just before you joined us, I said that I need 10 persons at least to say that they can hear me and they can see me. So when we get that 10, we're on 5 now. When we get 10, you just go on. Oh, we're on 6 now. So we're waiting for 4 more persons to join and we just go on. Thank you so much. I hope you all are good. So I am a person that loves time management a lot, so I don't think we can even wait forever. But then, while we wait to get to 6:10, at exactly 6:10 Nigerian time, we're going to start properly. But okay, we're on 7. Sharon is counting. Thank you so much, Sharon. So we're waiting for the next 3 persons to join us. 10 is a perfect number. When you're number 10, you know you're something. 1 and 0. It's the first number that has 2 digits. So why not? Let's wait for 10. We're on 7, 3 more persons, and we just go on. Today is just going to be so much fun, and I know that you're going to be on a journey. So sit back, relax. If you need to, not if you, I know you need to get your notes, get something to write because it's going to be packed full with value. A lot of our speakers are prepared to share so much about themselves, not just about their personal lives, but about things that we all can take home and make ourselves better people. So, 3 more. If some persons are listening to me, I said if you can see me and you can hear me, just comment, just say something, just say I can see you, I can hear you, and then we go on. But while we wait for that, when we get to 6:10, we get the ball rolling already. Thank you. Thank you. At 6:10, we just begin. Okay, so you're welcome. So in absence of Sharon, you're the timekeeper on this call. Thank you so much. We're going to continue in the absence of any other good evenings or I can hear you. But I'd like us to participate as much as we can, even as we stream. Let's try to participate. When we ask questions, let's try to help with the feedback so that we can know that this is being impactful. So you're welcome to the A Game Plan. My name is Abiye Abere, and it is such an honor to be the convener of this meeting and as well as the moderator of the session this evening. I tell you for sure that your few hours of being here is going to be very impactful because our speakers are ready to impart so much knowledge to us and to me. Why I said me is because even if I have graduated from the university for quite some years now, we don't stop learning because when we hear people who are full of wisdom and knowledge speak, we get better even at what we do because knowledge transferred when implemented would always yield fruits and results, and that's what we want. And that's why this event is organized so that at the end of the day we all would have a seamless and excellent journey through the university. The university is a very being in the university is a very sensitive period of one's life because if you are not able to make use of the 3, 4, 5 years that you have to spend in the university, 6 years as it may be, depending on your program, if you're not able to use the time well, you'd notice that even after graduation, you'd be wondering, what did I do with my 3 years in school? What did I do with my 4 years in school? And that is why some persons now conclude that school na scam. But if you believe that school is not scam, can I just see the comments? School is not scam. School is not a scam. Just comment. Let me get your feedbacks. If you believe that school is not scam, let me just see the comments. Just tell me what you think about that statement. Okay. I want to be sure you're following. Okay. While we wait for you to engage and comment, being in the university is a lot because it has so much to do with your transitioning from one point to the other. You're transitioning from undergraduate studies to the real world, to the real life. Okay, yes, someone is saying school is not scam. Ebepo is saying that Sean is saying that as well. Yes, school no be scam. Yes, as we say in the pidgin language, school is not scam. But a lot of persons have concluded that that's what school life is. But this is not true, because being in the university is an opportunity for you to grow and for you to become. And that's why we've put this event together as the A game plan, because you'll be receiving from experienced graduates, people who went through the university journey and came out successfully. They'll be sharing with us how their journey went, things they would have done better when they were in the university if they had the opportunity of going back now. I say it every time that if I had the opportunity of being an undergrad again, maybe I would have never failed any course, like never gotten a B or something, never gotten a C, never struggled to some point. But here we are. Life takes you on a journey where you can't reverse time. You just go, you just go, you just learn as you go. But the most important and most significant thing. Okay, thank you. I'm back. I said that the most important and most significant thing is that as we transition, we get to learn lessons. And it is those lessons that we've learned and we are willing and we hope to share today and tomorrow. So, without wasting any bit of your time, I'd be introducing the next speaker, which is the first speaker for this event, the A Game Plan 2023. So, I'm going to be reading his bio, and he will be coming up to speak to us. Coming up to speak is a non-profit management consultant at ID Consulting, a company he created to help non-profits become sustainable. He studied at the University of Benin and is currently a master's candidate in international development at the University of Galway in Ireland. He is a social entrepreneur who founded two non-profits, My Niger Food Bank and Church on the Street International, to fight hunger and reduce poverty in Nigeria. He has raised more than $12,000 in funding to combat malnutrition and create community-led interventions to reduce poverty in Nigeria. His work has appeared on the Vanguard Nigeria, TEDx, and the United Nations Millennium Fellowship. As part of his efforts to champion zero hunger in Nigeria, he was awarded the 2022 Oxfam Hunger Heroes Award. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, dear undergrads and scholars, please join me as we bring up the virtual stage Mr. Itofa Ivara. Please, can I see you put your hands together for him?
Hi,
You should
Abere.
clap. I need to see it in the comments. You just put your hands together.
Amazing. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? If you can hear me loud and clear, just let me know in the chat box, because it's about to get very hot right here. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? You know you can hear me louder and clear. Let me see the chat box. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be out here today. It's something that I don't take for granted. Thank you to my very good friend and brother Abiye. A big shout out to the whole team and everybody who's up on the call tonight. My name is Ivara Itofa, and we're going to have a very, very interesting conversation tonight. A conversation that you've never heard, like you've never heard before, and it will change your life. It will rattle your perspective. It will shape in your mind and cause maybe a revolution in your mindset, right? So my name is Ivara Itofa. Like my bio said, I'm a non-profit management consultant. At the same time, I also work um, with community development to champion zero hunger in Nigeria. And I've been doing this for 4 years. As a young man in Nigeria, started off with very little, built by the grace of God, and we're here where we are today. And today I want to share some really, really powerful, thought-provoking perspective with you guys tonight that will cause you to actually go back and think. I'm going to share my screen with you. That will cause you to go back to the drawing board and begin to think. Okay, so just to be clear that everybody can see my screen, can everybody see my screen? Can everybody see my screen? Awesome, great. So the very first question I want to start off tonight with is to ask you guys this very interesting question that I ask all the time, every time I get to speak, is this: if you knew you couldn't fail, guys, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you attempt to do? Right? If you knew you couldn't fail, sorry, I can't see the chat box. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you attempt to do? If you knew you couldn't fail, somebody talk to me, put in the chat box. I'm going to be reading your comments on the chat box. If you knew you couldn't fail, you had all the resources in the world, you had every single thing you've ever dreamt of, every single thing you've ever thought about, you have it. You know you couldn't fail. Tell me, what would you do differently? What things would you attempt to try? What risk would you attempt to push yourself to take? I want to see your comments in the chat box. All right. Sadly, I can't see our comments. Is it me? All right, you knew you could. What would you do differently? So I'll probably just go with my conversation without taking too much of your time. So very interesting. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you attempt to do? There's so many of you right now on this call who are looking at me, and you're born in an environment where all you know is scarcity. You're born in an environment where it's been a tussle and a struggle for you to be able to navigate life and navigate your journey. So my question to you tonight is this: imagine you had $1 million in your bank account. Imagine you had $10 billion in your bank account and you knew you could not fail. What would you attempt to do differently with your life today? Is it that you would start off on that idea? Is it that you would try to build something? Is it that you try to develop a solution? What exactly would you do differently if you knew today that you couldn't fail? All right, I want to see the chat box pop in. I need to, okay, awesome, great. All right, guys. So you know you can't fail. What would you do differently? Now, there's a very powerful story I'm going to share with you guys tonight that will rattle your mind and shape your perspective. Right? An interesting man called Sundar Pichai. Does anybody recognize this man? Who knows this man? Does anybody here know who this man is? I wish I could see the comment, but I sadly cannot see the comments. I want you to type in the comment section, do you know who this man is? Now, I ask you a very simple question. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do differently? What would you do differently? Because right now, there's so many things that's crippling your wings, your environment, the things that you are currently exposed to, the hardship and the difficult situations. But what if you could not fail? What if you had $1 million? What if you had unlimited resources? What would you do differently? And I'm about to share the story of an incredible man who had every single thing at his disadvantage. Today, we're talking about going global and positioning yourself globally as an undergrad, right? I'm going to share my journey and my story with you, how I started from the cradle with absolutely nothing, no advantage, no nothing, no resources to my name. But I had a vision that was consuming me, that I knew that no matter what comes, I would only succeed in life. I was not going to stop. I was not going to slow down for anybody. I wasn't going to have mercy on life. I would shock life and surprise life by the type of things and results that I was going to have on my journey. So somebody says she knows who Sundar Pichai is. Incredible. I love that. Now, Sundar Pichai is a very phenomenal man. You are currently using his device. You currently use something that belongs to him. But the story of this guy started from India. This man you see in front of you was born in India in the early 70s, born to a father who was an electrical engineer and a mother who was a teacher, a primary school teacher. You know, he was exposed to ravaged poverty. Poverty was ravaging his family. All they knew was scarcity, poverty. The future of this young man was so scarce. It was so bleak. He didn't have a bright future. Nothing looked like this guy could succeed. But guess what? He had an extraordinary ability to memorize numbers, to crunch numbers together. And so he will go on to study at one of the topmost university in India, where he got a degree in metallurgy. Now his undergrad was focused on metallurgy, basically on trying to see how you can use metals to conduct electricity and all of that. Now, Sundar Pichai, this incredible young man, will go on to finish from his university as the best student. Best student. Remember the very first question I asked you guys? I said, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do differently? Sundar Pichai, exposed to poverty, born with very limited opportunity, had a dream that he was going to go to Stanford. So after finishing his undergraduate degree at the university in India, he went on, guys, to win a scholarship to go to Stanford University to go and study. Now, while he was in Stanford University, he met with Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Who do you guys know who Larry Page and Sergey Brin is? Larry Page and Sergey Brin are the co-founders of Google. This incredible man you see here, who had very limited opportunity, who had very limited resources to his name, went into a university with a big mind that he was going to change the world. He was going to change the face of tech. And when he met Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the current creators of Google, what happened was that he joined the team as a product developer and started creating incredible ideas and incredible innovations in the company. Now, he was the first guy to create Google Calendar. He was the first guy to create Google Map. He's the first guy to create Google Chrome. The Google Chrome you currently use to browse, to surf the internet with your phone, was created by this young man, Sundar Pichai. How did this young man go from being a poor, ravagely poor young man in India to becoming the current CEO of Google? As of January 2023, the current net worth of Google has a market cap value of $1.34 trillion. This young man, with nothing, with scarcity, with poverty, will go on to become the CEO of Google. My conversation with you tonight is to stretch your mind beyond your current reality, is to cause you to begin to think inside out, is to cause you to begin to look at yourself and ask yourself, what more can I do? How can I push the envelope in my life? How can I stir a change in my journey? Are we together? How can I push the envelope in my life? How can I stir? Are we together, guys? Just to be clear that we are together. Okay, guys. So Sundar Pichai, this incredible young man, would eventually become the CEO of Google. And what many people would have thought that a failure, how would a failure have gone to do all of this incredible stuff? Sundar Pichai, this great man you see here today, went on to shape the face of technology globally, guys. He went and reshaped the face of technology globally. Sundar Pichai currently sits as the CEO of Google. Now, when you begin the conversation and you start to ask yourself, what does it take to be positioned for global relevance? There are very, very simple tools I'm going to share with you guys, right? Very, very simple, interesting tools I'm going to share with you on how to position yourself globally. One of the very first things I'm going to share with you guys today is that you need to learn how to become a living solution. You need to learn how to become a living solution. And here's what I mean by being a living solution. You need to become that person who knows how to offer solution to his environment. Now, many times your environment, especially if you're born in Nigeria, you're almost disadvantaged because there are so very little resources to you as a student. There are so very little resources to you as a student. So it's almost like you're disadvantaged as a young person already being Nigeria. But here's what I want to share with you guys today. You can change the world from where you are. You can change the world from where you are, guys. You can change the world literally from where you are. Whether you were born in opulence, whether you're born in affluence, you can change the world right from where you are. Right from where you are, you can change the world. And I'm going to be sharing my own personal story with you guys. I'm going to share my own personal story with you guys and how my story currently, sits will serve as a social capital to help you guys, right? So one of the very first things you need to do is you need to learn how to become a living solution. What do I mean? In your environment, in your school, with the very limited resources you currently have, You must tell yourself or choose to be that person who will change the world from where they are. You must choose to be that person who will change the world from where they are, irrespective of how much you have, irrespective of how little opportunities you're currently exposed to. You must choose to be that person who will change the world from right where they are. And so you need to begin to look at your environment and ask yourself, how do I position myself globally? First rule is you need to become a living solution. You need to become a living, breathing solution. If you're taking notes down, let me tell you, nobody's going to look for you. You need to become a living, breathing solution who can change the world. A living, breathing solution who will say, look, irrespective, no matter what happens, I'm going to be the guy who the world will remember. So now you're an undergraduate studying a particular degree in the University of Port Harcourt, University of Lagos, or University of Abuja, and your dream is to conquer the world. Some of you want to get to the White House. Some of you want to be the face of when it comes to social entrepreneurship. Some of you want to be the face in Africa. When it comes to entrepreneurship, some of you want to become the face in Africa. When it comes to entertainment, some of you want to become the face in Africa. The question I'm asking you tonight is this: how do you become that globally relevant? You need to become a person who is a living solution, where you see yourself as a global asset, not a local asset. You can't continue to see yourself as a local asset. You're a global asset. So every morning you wake up with the challenges you're going through, with the hardship and the difficult times you're going through, you say to yourself, man, no, I've been created for more. I've been created for more. So you look at your environment. How do I begin to design solutions to the problems in my community, right? For me, when I started my journey, it was more about figuring how I was going to solve the problem of hunger, because I was coming from a place where this was all I knew, guys. This was all I knew. So I had to ask myself, how do I design solutions to this problem? So you need to design a solution to a problem in your community. You need to expand your cognitive ability in the direction of the problems you want to solve. Let me slow down, guys. The biggest way to becoming globally relevant is, number one, tell yourself that you're a solution. So with the little resources you have, with the little resources at your disposal, tell yourself that I am relevant. The world needs what I carry. I am a global voice. I have what it takes to change the world. I may not have breakfast. I may not be able to afford lunch or dinner, but I have what it takes to change the world. I am an asset to my community. And that's how change starts. That's how change begins, guys. Sadly, I can't see your comment, but I'll just keep pushing. It's a little bit difficult to interact. So I'm going to share my slide. Can I get this particular slide shown on the screen, guys? This is the part where I tell my story. Can I, team, can I get this on display on the full screen? Thank you. So this is where my story actually begins from. I'm going to start off here to tell you my story. You know, when we started the whole conversation about global relevance, you see, my dream was to become a medical doctor. That was all I wanted to be. I wanted to become a medical doctor. I went to the University of Benin, applied for medicine, but ended up in a department that I didn't envisage or dream of, Faculty of Education. And I was in this education department where I was studying to become a teacher. So for the first 2 years of my life, I was stuck in a degree I never wanted. I was afraid. I was ashamed. Every time I would see the medical students, I felt petrified, guys. I felt really, really petrified because it kind of felt like these guys were better than I was. Everything about them was different. Here I was as this guy who wanted to become a medical doctor, but I was stuck doing something that I didn't like. If you can see this photo closely, I don't know if this photo can be zoomed in. If it can't be zoomed in and you can see it closely, you can tell that between the space of 5 years, so much can happen in anybody's life. When someone tells you, and actually, where are you going to be in 5 years? I'm here to tell you that you may not necessarily have the explanation of where you're going to be in 5 years. However, a great man once said something one time, Steve Jobs. He said, you don't connect the dots looking forward, you connect your dots looking backward. And so my dream was to become a doctor, but I was stuck in a degree. Now, in 2018, I just started university at the University of Benin. You could tell the very, very huge dichotomy and huge difference in my story and in my journey. I was this guy who was confused. I was this guy who was unsure and uncertain about my future. But deep down in my spirit, like many of you listening to me right now, you know that you don't want to be average. You know that you don't want to be mediocre. You know that you want to change the world. You know that you want to etch your name in the sands of time. You know that you want to be globally relevant. You know that you want your name to be reckoned with as somebody who was able to provide solutions to the global community. So in 2018, the guy you see on the left-hand side, I couldn't buy a rice of 250 naira from the basement building in my university. I couldn't buy course form of 2,000 naira. There was a semester I resumed school with only 5,000 naira. That was all I had. That was all my parents could give to me. And I would ask myself, how do I want to change the world? Because all I knew here was poverty and scarcity. Is it possible that I can change the world? Because it kind of felt like everything was against me. I felt like this guy was disadvantaged. You could see how I was looking here, very skinny, malnourished, suffering. Hunger was finishing me. But in this state, I kept saying to myself, nations would hear the things that I carry. Nations would hear my voice. I would solve the global problems. I am a global solution. I am a global asset. Kings come to the brightness of my rising. And right where I was, because I began to tune my mind to be globally relevant, I looked at my environment. What solution can I prefer? And I realized that the only global problem that I can resonate with was hunger. A guy who couldn't buy rice of 250. That's how I understood hunger very well. I know what it means to go hungry. And I realized that there were kids like me who were in primary school, who were in secondary school, who were going to school with hunger in their stomach. How do we reach these children? Because without food, it would impact their cognitive development. They will not be able to perform well in class. They will not be able to concentrate. Is it possible that I can meet them where they are and solve their problem? And so I founded Church on the Street International in 2018. And this very picture you see on the left-hand side was the very first time as an undergrad we went to actually start to reach out to children. Now, mind you, all I had was 4,000 naira and a big dream that I would touch the world. 4,000 naira and a very audacious dream that I would touch the world. I knew that I may not be able to buy rice of 250 today. I may not have parents who could give me millions, but I have a vision that could touch the world. I have an idea that could solve a global problem. And that became my catalyst and my drive to wanting to become better. And so we started Church on the Street with 4,000 naira. 4,000 naira, guys. That was all we had. But we knew that we could touch every single child in Nigeria. And with 4,000 naira, we started going from schools to orphanages. We started going to communities, remote communities. With 4,000 and just 4 friends who started this organization, I stand here to tell you today that we've been able to reach out to over 8,000 families and raised over $12,000 for communities. This same guy who couldn't buy rice of 250. This same guy who couldn't buy rice of 250 naira. Over 8,000 families have benefited from this incredible idea we had. Are there people right now who are listening to me in this room who know deep down that they are disadvantaged and have very limited resources, but believe in the deep crucible of their hearts and their spirit that they can change the world? Now they need more people like yourself who can change the world. I want you to type in the chat box, I am globally relevant. If you know that I'm talking to you and I'm resonating with you, I want you to type in the chat box that I am globally relevant. So whether you're probably living in a mansion today, you're not living in a mansion today, I'm here to tell you that the world is waiting for what you currently carry. The world is waiting for what you currently carry. The world is waiting for what you currently carry. The world is waiting for what you currently carry. People may not see, people may not believe you. People may see you and say that she's just over sabi, she's doing is over sabi. Everyone, is it only you? I want you to type it, I am globally relevant. I am the solution that Nigeria needs. I am the solution that the global continent needs. And nothing would stop me. Not even my finance, not even my environment, not my economic state will stop me. I will change the world. I will change the world. Itofa will change the world. Now, let's go back to Sundar Pichai, an Indian man, an Indian boy who had everything at his disadvantage. A mother who was an ordinary teacher, and a father who was an electrical engineer. In fact, studies showed that his story showed that when he was trying to go to Stanford University, his parents couldn't afford to buy their plane tickets. They had to sell their fridge, their car, just to buy Sundar Pichai a plane ticket to go to Stanford when he won his scholarship. How did a guy who had everything at his disadvantage become the CEO of a company that's currently worth $1.34 trillion? The power of vision. The power of vision. If you're in this room today and you've not captured a vision for your life, this is a time for you to get up and challenge yourself. I will change the world. Enough of this mediocrity, enough of this small-mindedness, enough of this small thinking, enough of it. If Sundar Pichai, who had everything at his disadvantage, could sit as a CEO of Google today and Alphabet Incorporated, you can do it too. I can do it too. If 4,000 naira that we started with Church on the Street with can become over $12,000 and 8,000 families we're serving, it means trapped inside every one of you here a global solution that the world needs to experience. A global solutions trapped inside every one of you that the world needs to experience. And so today is the day where you tell yourself, look, enough of this small-mindedness. Whether you live in Lagos, you live in China, the world needs what you carry. But it starts with your mindset. Your mindset has to change. Your mindset has to change. You have to switch from that scarcity and survival mentality and come to that place where, look, the world is waiting for what you carry. And so I'm going to go to my last slide. I'm going to share a very interesting story about one of the greatest men who inspires me so much. His name is John Maxwell. Many of you already even know who John Maxwell is. And I'm going to tell you this very beautiful story. And this story is going to resonate with so many people in this room tonight because truly, the world isn't ready. The world hasn't even seen all that you can be. The world hasn't seen all that you can be yet. And I'm excited for the 20-something people who joined the call tonight. I'm super excited for you guys. So it was John's 60th birthday, and he had this incredible secretary who was working with him as the secretary at that time. And everybody knew that John Maxwell was a great lover of books. John Maxwell loved books. Anytime you reach out to him, you want to surprise him, you need to buy him a book. And this particular day, it was his 60th, I think 61st birthday. You know, all his friends had bought him a present, and everybody had gathered presents to give John Maxwell. And John Maxwell, you know, had seen this beautiful wrapped red box. And John Maxwell said to himself, "Is that a present for me?" And the secretary said, "Yes, it's a present for you, sir." And John Maxwell said, "Can I open it?" And the secretary said, "Yes, you can open it." And out of excitement, John Maxwell started to wrap the gift open. Now, follow me very closely. What I'm about to share with you will change somebody's life. What I'm about to share with you will change somebody's life. John Maxwell started unwrapping this beautiful box. As he unwrapped this beautiful box of presents that had been given to him by his secretary, he opened unwrapped to the first cover, and the cover of the book said, "The greatest story ever told." And John Maxwell, in his excitement, I was like, "Oh wow, the greatest story ever told. I can't wait to read this book and see what it talks about." And the secretary said, "Please, can you open forward? Open farther, just open farther." And John Maxwell started flipping through the pages of the book. He was flipping through the pages of the book. He flipped to the very first page, it was empty. Flipped to the second page, it was empty. He looked at the lady, flipped to the third page, it was empty. And John Maxwell looks at the lady and says, "Julian, what's happening? He said the greatest story ever told, but every page on this book is empty." Julian's response to John Maxwell will be my closing statement, because when I heard that statement, it changed my life. And I know it will change somebody's life. John Maxwell looks at the lady and says, "But the pages are empty." And Julian turns and looks at John and says, John, the pages are empty because we want you to write the best story ever with your life on those pages. Every single day, life would hand you empty pages. What you choose to make out of those empty pages is your total decision. So, irrespective of the environment you find yourself, irrespective of the economic class you find yourself, if Sundar Pichai can do it, if I can come from not being able to afford a rice of 250 naira to launching a food bank today for families, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And just like it was said to John Maxwell, go and write the best story ever with your life because you are going to be the author of the greatest story of your life. And guys, at this point, I want to say thank you so much for having me. It really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Itofa. Please, can you put your hands together for him? I want to see the chat just reflect that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Itofa. That was mind blowing. That was impactful. I learned a lot myself. I am globally relevant. Matithia is saying that I'm globally relevant. I am globally relevant. Everybody is saying that. Thank you so much, Itofa. That was really insightful. Thank you. I think we have a lot to like even learn from you. When we go to the question and answer session, we'd have more to take on that. But if there's anything that I think everybody should take home is the concluding statement of every day, life would hand over to you a book with empty pages. What you decide to do with it is up to you. And I know that everybody on this call, everybody streaming right now, will not just write empty or will not just write things that are not relevant, but would make good use of their pages and write the best kind of stories. Thank you so much, Itofa. I really appreciate. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
As he said, it starts from the mind. And anybody on this call right now, I know when our emails went out, we tagged it the A scholars. And why did we say that? Talking about A scholars, if we're just trying to say that you need to be at the very top, you need to not just aspire to be at the very top, but actually strive to get there. When we asked everyone to fill in questions, people wrote, okay, how can I even get there? Some people were asking, what is this whole A game plan about? And today I'm sure that you're going to know what it stands for and also work towards being the very best. Itofa, you didn't say so much about all you've done with the United Nations. I wanted everyone to get to hear that. Can you
Yeah.
just tell me a bit of what your experience has been with the United Nations? Because I know that being recognized on such a global platform means a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
one thing to do, and another thing for your effort and your work to be appreciated globally. So, how did you get to that point of being recognized at the level of the United Nations? Just very briefly before we introduce the next speaker, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it this happened in 2020, and it was as a result of the work we've been doing in community. So there was an opening for us to write to the United Nations Millennium Fellowship, just basically talk about the things we've been doing, in your community. And for some reason, the work we've been doing stood out, and it got me that recognition and into that fellowship, and it was a life-changing experience. Just being able to meet with other fellows and people who are doing incredible stuff around the world. And that's why I said that for everybody here, your environment, your economy class is not a limitation. You can rewrite your own narrative, you can rewrite your own story. So, and I know that there are so many people here who probably have ideas. Not everybody will start like an NGO like Itofa. Not everybody will set up an event like Abiye. So if you're up on here, it's an incredible gift. So whatever your gifting is, make the most of it. And Abiye, I know that I have a book that I'm giving away It's
Yeah.
the book that I authored. It's called The Secret of Running a Successful Nonprofit. If there's anybody here who has a dream of starting an NGO like I did, and you don't know where to start from, I'll be giving the first three people who sends an email to this. The first three emails we receive to this are going to be getting this book. It's called The Secrets of Building a Successful Nonprofit. And I'll be happy to jump on the call with you as well. The first three people who send an email to that address there will get my book. So I just want to say thank you, Abiye, for having me. It's an incredible pleasure and
Thank
honor.
you. Thank you so much, Itofa, for coming. Would see you soon on the panel session. Thank
All
you.
right, awesome.
Okay. You can't be a solution without solving a problem. You can't be a solution without solving a problem. So let me give you 30 seconds to 1 minute to think. In your community, in your space, what is the problem that you want to solve? What is the problem that you want to be known to solve? Is it in the area of entertainment? What is in entertainment that you want to change? Is it in the area of politics? What's in politics that you want to change? In the area of leadership, in the area of business, what is that thing that you want to do? There are problems littered everywhere, looking for who to solve them. Don't just look at these problems. Don't just recognize these problems. Okay, it's up. Don't just look at these problems. Don't just recognize these problems, but actually work towards solving them. And for sure, you will be recognized someday, just like Itofa has been. How is the event going? If you are learning a lot, can I just see the comments say that? Just type in the A game plan, the A game plan, the A game plan. I know a lot of persons have already gone to send Itofa emails now. People have left this call to send him emails because he said the first 3%. That was a bombshell. Thank you so much. Okay. Just type in the A game plan in comments. If you know that you're having a good one. We only just got started though, because we have another ebullient speaker waiting backstage to come and wow everyone. Okay, so without wasting any bit of your time, the A game plan, thank you so much. Without wasting any bit of your time, would be going right into introducing the next speaker. The next speaker is an ardent lover of God and one of the many rising ladies focused on pursuing and striking a balance around kingdom business, career, and self-development. She's an intellectual property attorney and an associate with Strand and Bland Partners. She is a first-class graduate of the prestigious River State University. She stands as an epitome of excellence within her academic and career niche. She is also an entrepreneur and a growing digital content creator. She is a fashion designer and she's also nursing a lifestyle media brand which will be launched very soon. She's the founder of the Hills Beam Foundation. She also convenes the Soul Sisters Network and a platform called When Ladies Pray. Her desire is to see that young ladies become who God has made them to be, and also going to the point of self appreciation and self actualization. Please, scholars, join me, give a loud welcome to this very beautiful and ebullient, wonderful lady, Radiance Onu Esquire. Please put your hands together as we welcome Radiance.
Thank you.
Radiance.
Thank you so much. Abiye, it couldn't have been me you were introducing the whole time because who is that? Thank you so much. Thank you, Abiye. It's a pleasure and it's such an honor to be here. Thank you. Thank you to the entire A Game team. Thank you to all our attendees. Thank you to Mr. Itofa. That was mind blowing. In fact, at a point, I'm like, are you sure I'm here to? I think I should just be on the learning side here. So thank you so much, everyone. I really do appreciate. Thank you very much for the privilege, and I don't take it for granted at all. And leave all those plenty things that be read. Oh. God is helping us, and we are just really trying to become. We are trying to see that we come to the fullness. Can I just see in the chat box that you can hear me? Sorry. Uh, okay, okay. All right. Thanks. Okay, so my assignment here is quite simple because I would just like for us to interact a bit. Well, obviously, when it comes to the question and answer session, and Abiye has asked me to speak or just give a tidbit on three very broad, very broad topics. But I mean, we would really just be able to make the most out of it. So, can I have my slides on? Is it possible? Can the slides come up the screen? Oh, okay, great. Okay, the next slide, please. Let's move to the next. So in the next couple of minutes here, we'll just be talking about things that I'm sure we are already very familiar with. So the first is the importance of networking as undergraduates and even graduates. In fact, the essence of networking in life, because it's not even about being a student right here, right? Networking is it's become an inevitable part of man's life, right? So we are. Mhm. So we are going to be discussing briefly networking, and then we're also going to talk a bit about business development and striking a balance. This is a lot. So it's like first you acknowledge that, oh, I'm not an island. I need people. I need to succeed. And so because I need to succeed, I need to associate with people. But then it doesn't just stop at me associating with people, because when I associate with people, I must be able to dispense value, right? So I'm the session we just had, you can't be a solution if you're not solving a problem, right? So you are able to relate with people because of the value you carry or the value that you offer, right? And then whilst doing that, have a balance, you still finish line. In order for you to get to the you envisage for yourself, you must at every point in time strike a balance. So that's like the entirety of what we'll be talking about in the next couple of minutes. I really don't know. I just need to be sure that you can all hear me. Can you all hear me? I don't know. Lord help me. Can you all hear me? Because I just keep seeing this network thing on the screen. Can you all hear me? All right, great, great, great. Okay, yeah. So first, the first thing on the slide. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, good. So I had said that an A game is a result-oriented game. Now, I can't even say anything further because our last speaker has literally explained that to the very least, right? To the barest minimum. Because you cannot be acing your game, you cannot be successful at anything if there is no results, or if there are no results to show for what you are doing. So you are able to be tagged as an A student because there's some grades that evidence that stands as an evidence or attest to that fact. You are able to be seen as a globally relevant person because people are seeing your impact globally. So saying, oh, I'm an A student, I'm an A gamer, I'm all the things you want to call it, it would only
Thank you so much. Our speaker is having some technical glitch, network. It's not our fault. We've not come to a point where we wouldn't be disturbed by network. So let's take it as one of those things. And she'll be back very soon to continue her session. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're enjoying the event. She said something about value that I think I should share. Before you talk about networking, what is the value you're bringing to the table? A lot of times people want to be friends with influential people, but they fail to be influenced themselves. And when that happens, you see that you can reach out to these influential people and they don't give you the kind of attention that you want. And that's not what you want. So when you talk about networking, you need to first consider the value that you bring to the table or the value that you share, because it goes a long way to help you in attracting the kind of people you want to attracting the kind of people you would want to attract. And so as A gamers or as game changers, as A scholars, it's people that we want to interact with and also improve ourselves. First, improve ourselves before we even reach out to people to be friends with them. One thing that has helped me so far is the power of relationships and the power of the kind of networks I've built. Everybody on this call, or all the speakers that we're going to be here, are people that are in my network, and I was able to interact with them. Value to the table. Someone said something, and the person said that it's wrong for you as a person to desire relationship when you are not bringing or you are not offering anything. That's going to be really parasitic. Nobody wants to have a parasitic friend. Nobody wants to be in relationship with someone who they also can't benefit anything from. Friends, or if at all would have anything doing in common, then first we must have a common ground. So how do you find that common ground? How do you create that space that people would be able to interact with you and engage with you? If you can hear me, I just want you to indicate in the chat box, please. If you can hear me and you're following, I just want you to build your network. If you've not built your network, then you should consciously do that. Some persons to say, "Oh, I'm a shy person. I'm not the talker. I just like to keep quiet and be myself." If you are just by yourself and you fail to create a rich network, even when you need help as a student, you would not be able to thrive. When you need support academically, you'd not have anybody to be around you, to support you, to be any form of support to you. And that's why it's important that you build relationships. Build relationships not just with your course mates. If you're following me, I want you to indicate in the chat box that you're following though. Okay. You don't just need to build relationships with your course mates or people that are in your space, but build relationships with people above you, build relationships with people below you, build relationships with your lecturers. Very, very important. Some persons feel like they can thrive without their lecturers, and you say, I don't like this man. No, 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 no. I don't like this one. And it's so sad that when I speak with some persons and they tell me the academic challenge, and I say, okay, your issue is you don't understand math 105. Who is the lecturer of this course? And the person responds, yeah, I don't know. The moment I get that, I just say, now, this is the start of your problem. You cannot thrive or excel in a course when you don't even know the person taking the course. You don't like the person, you've not interacted with the person before. Not like I'm saying that you should interact with every lecturer that comes your way, but at least you should know their names first. That's like the first step in networking, by the way. Knowing the names of people. I may not know who you are entirely, but I know your name. That's step one. So what is it? Who are your lecturers? What are their names? You need to start knowing these people, because they're the people that would serve as mentors to you academically. They are the people that will be able to put you through when you don't understand. You also need to be in relationship with the people that are above you. If you're in 100 level, you have 200 level senior colleagues, you have people in 300, 400 levels. Why do you want to run the race on your own? Why not interact with these people? Why not build your network with these people so that they'll be able to put you through and help you in places that you're not clear? You also need to build relationships with people that are below you. Now, here is one thing: no relationship or no good relationship is a waste. I can't say no relationship is a waste, because at the end of the day, people are in bad relationships, relationships that don't profit them in any way, but no good relationship is a waste. And so it's important that you also be in relationship with people below you, so you can also pull people up. A lot of times we want to take to ourselves, and we fail to give and share the same thing we've gotten. And that's one thing that I have consciously tried to do, that at every point in my life I want to be of value to the next person. I want to be of value to the people coming below me. Now let me tell you a story. When I was in 100 level, no, I want to know if you want to hear this story. Let me tell you a story. If you want to hear it, let me see it in the comment section. Thank you. Now, something happened when I was in 100 level. I did this course. I did this course. Was it philosophy? Yes, I did philosophy. And as a person, I don't like philosophy. I don't like philosophy, but philosophy was one of the courses that I had to pass. And that's one thing again. Sometimes we choose the kind of courses that we want to pass. You say, oh, I don't like physics. Physics you wait. And then you read English morning, English afternoon, English in the evening. You read English for 1 week. And then you now have a test on math, or you have a test on physics, on any course that you don't like, and then you say, what will I do? Then some people resort to examination malpractice. So back to my story. I had this course philosophy and I didn't really like it, but I was passionate about it. I felt like, okay, because I need to pass this course, I need to put my best in this course. So I asked the people that were above me, and they said they learned the exam was an objective exam. When they wrote it, was a CBT exam, and you know that it's different. We prepare for CBT. We prepare for CBTs quite differently from how we prepare for paper and pen exams. So they told us it was not going to be theory; it was just going to be objective. And so I prepared for it in that light. I think that was like a month to the exam. The lecturer, I'll never forget her. We call her Reverend Mother. So Reverend Mother said that we were going to be taking this exam as subjective. Subjective. And you know, subjective exams are no jokes. It's either you know it or you don't know it. So we have Dash said that A, B, C, D. And then I'm wondering, what is this? I didn't know how to start, and I didn't like subjective exams, but I said I was going to put my best at it and I was going to excel. Eventually, I didn't perform well in that course in my first year. But let me tell you the interesting thing. All my friends, all my junior friends, and all my mentees that I had then in River State University, they excelled at that course. One of them even got an A, or several of them got A's in that course, but I got a C in that course. Now, my happiness and my joy is that I was able to pull these people up to where I would have been. And so I learned from that space, and I shared my experience with them and told them how they should perform better, or how they can perform better. And so a lot of times some people give reasons for their failures rather than learning from their failures. You don't learn. They ask you, oh, why did you perform poorly at this course? Then fail me, Sha. You never fail. They always fail you. And then that becomes the narrative. I remember a lot of persons were scared of physics in River State University at the time. Physics 105 and 106, the practical. People were scared of that course. Why? Because people told them that this course is difficult. How? For a course you don't know. And it's funny when people haven't even tried, but they failed. And the moment you fail in your mind, you failed forever. The moment you failed in your mind, then there's no how we can help you because it's a mind thing. And then when I ask people, how are you preparing for this exam? And they tell me, Omo, this physics, sha. I'm like, what happened to your mind? Okay, Radiance is back. Radiance, can you hear me? Radiance, can you hear me? Okay, I'll just continue until I can get feedback from her. So, a lot of times people give reasons. You give excuses for failure. You fail to learn from your failures. And at the end of the day, we don't necessarily fail because we learn. And then it's by learning that we grow. And so I'm proud of this initiative, the A Game Plan, because it's in this space that we'll get that mentorship. I wish I had this platform when I was in the university. I believe that I would have been better because I've been able to ask questions and ask people that will be able to help me become better at my academics. But I didn't have that. But thank God I was in a school fellowship that helped me and general advice from my senior colleagues, my lecturers, and people that I respect. But we should, if you're in 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 level, any level that you're in, you should recognize that you have a lesson to learn in that space. Some persons think that they can't learn lessons in final year, but you know what? It's about your experience, it's about your testimony. Okay, at the end of my final year, let's assume that I have been on a 2-2. I've been having 3.2, and my CGPA at the moment in my final year is 3.1. 3.1 CGPA. Obviously, I can't graduate with a first class. I may be 3.2. Of course, you can't graduate with a 2-1 as well. 3.2 is really far from the 2-1 space because it's average. It's average. So yeah, it's average. So it may be difficult for you to even get into a 2-1. But you know what? Your experience and your testimony would be different when you put your best into your final year work. There is no, there is no, there is no limit to how much you can become or how far you can go when you decide to start something now. I may not graduate with a first class, but I have a testimony that in my final year, I gave my academics my best, and this was the best time of my stay in school. It's about your experience, and it is not too late to have that experience that people were having since their 100 level. It's not too late to have that. I think Radiance is still having an issue with connecting, but guess what? We have our speakers in the we have our speakers backstage, and the second session or the third session is supposed to be a panel session where they are going to entertain questions and we're going to answer questions. So if you have any questions, please write them in the chat box so that we can take them as we proceed. Please help me write your questions in the chat box and we will take them. So please, can we have Itofa on the call while I'll introduce the next speaker? Itofa, please join me on the call and then I'll introduce the next speaker. Thank you, Itofa. Good to see you once again.
Good to see you, Torby.
Can you hear me?
Yes, louder and clear. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Are you ready for the panel?
Absolutely, absolutely ready.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
One question. I got that question from our online forms. Yes, and someone asked, how do you sleep for only 6 hours daily and still read effectively? How
Mm.
do you sleep only 6 hours daily and still read effectively? 6 hours of sleep. How do you how do
Okay.
you How do you do that?
Okay.
First
So
off,
here.
is 6 hours of sleep sufficient?
Okay. Okay. Great.
And
So
how do
it
you
varies with individuals. Medically, it varies with individuals.
okay?
Medically, it varies. Well, studies have shown that women require more sleep than men, at least 8 hours of sleep for them to function
Okay.
optimally for women. Um, from at least 8 hours sleep for women, while for men 6 hours sleep. For me, for instance, now 6 hours sleep is enough for me. Is enough for me. So, but how do you do that? I think the question that I would want to iterate is that um, vision will give your life energy. Vision gives your life energy. The reason why a lot of people are very passive with their life is because vision hasn't consumed them enough to be
Mm,
able to take a step. So if you know very well that you want to change the world, I keep using the word change the world up because I'm looking beyond even just your undergrad degree. I'm looking at changing the world. You know that you need to build your cognitive ability. You need to build your ability to be able to stand out from the crowd. So that drive alone will cause you to, put in some little extra hours to study, to research, to learn stuff that your peers do not know or your peers do not understand. So how do you do it? Find the balance. When I was an undergrad, I knew that I was not a night person. I'm not a night person. But when you wake me up at 3, 4 a.m. and you give me anything to read, my head is collecting the whole information. So understand your pattern. Who are you? Are you a nocturnal person or a diurnal person, like they say, a day or night person? Then make the most of what, like, if you give me anything at night, but if you that early hours of the morning, I'll be very, very productive. So over to you, Abiye.
thank you so much. Find the time you can function best and
Yes,
read when you can in that
yes,
space. But then as you said, it varies by person. But I think there's a discipline as well. There's sometimes
yes.
your body desires to sleep more. But just
Mm.
as you said that when you have the vision, you would somehow find the energy to just push on.
Yeah,
Because when
yeah,
you know where you are going and you look at your notes, I've not covered A, I've not covered B, I've not covered C, that sleep will run away from you. And that's one
yeah,
thing I used to do. I just challenge myself with how much work I have. When I see that I've not finished this course, I've not read this course thrice, I've not read this one at all, then I'm sleeping. Sometimes I even have like just 5 hours of sleep, and I'm like, oh, Mo, you need to stand up and read, because at the end of the day, it's just for a while. It's not like it's going to continue forever. It's just for the
yeah,
space of time of maybe exams or tests, and even
yeah.
throughout the semester if possible. And you'll be fine when you have your semester breaks. So we have the next speaker joining us. Today he'll be joining us as a panelist, but tomorrow he'll be taking a session. I appreciate that he's here because he's someone who has served as my academic mentor to some point. He
Wow.
is he is an international scholar. Specifically, he graduated with distinction from Imperial College London, and
Mm.
he is a first class graduate from the University of Port Harcourt. So, with all the joy that we have with us, can we just put our hands together as we welcome Cyril Pepple to join the call for the question and answer session? Thank you, Cyril. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Abiye. Thank you very much for that warm introduction. Hi,
Welcome.
Zopa. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
Nice to see
Cyril.
you. You're just giving me the Yankee vibes. I just
Ah, please. You're good.
one would tell that you're not in this country. Just look at my face and look at yours. Nice to see you.
It's it's the goodness of God. We thank
Okay,
God.
so
Thank you very
very
much. Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
I want to ask that I was asking that we type our questions, but I can't see any questions in the chat box. So I'm just going to ask the questions that were dropped when the participants had their registration. So someone asked, how does a student graduate with the first class? How does a student graduate with the first class?
Okay, should I go for that one?
Yes, Cyril,
I
yes,
didn't
Cyril.
graduate with your first class, so answer the question.
Okay. I think graduating with a first class is a decision that starts from the very first day that student gets into uni. It's a conscious effort that you make. Like some people, I think from like myself, I remember when I was in SS2 or SS3, I had already started practicing how to calculate like CGPAs. I was already using my grades from secondary school to just have an idea of what a CGPA would look like. So I think the mindset starts from 100 level, from that very moment that the student gets into uni. That's when they decide to graduate to the first class, and then it's now like a cumulative effort from then, from 100 level up until final year. Because you did well in your first year doesn't necessarily mean you're going to graduate to the first class when you get to your final year. So it's
Yeah.
best that initial decision, that mindset that you make up from year one, that I want to graduate to the first class and nothing else. And then
Mm.
the cumulative efforts that you start applying, the kind of association you have, of course, and most importantly, God at the very center of everything. So yeah, so for me, it's the mindset, that's cumulative efforts, because it has to do with your CGPA, and your CGPA must get to a certain level from, I think, 4.5 or 6 point something for schools with 7.0. So from then onwards, that cumulative effort and placing God at the center, also your association as well matters a lot. So these are some of the cues I can
Yeah,
give.
thank you so much. You can't say, yeah, thank you so much. You can't desire, I feel you can't desire to graduate with the first class, and everybody in your association just loves to settle for less. Like I personally, God helped me choose my circle, like my circle of friends. I for me, one thing that helped me, right, was that number one, I don't do examination malpractice at all. So that's realization that Abiye, if you've not read structures, it's you and God and this ceiling that will look at yourselves. So
Mm.
just knowing that without studying, I have no help. It was
Impossible.
just encouragement for me. I just have to study because, and by the way, you can't also pray without studying. If you're praying and you're not studying, what is God going to remind you about? So I just had to study. I just had to make sure that at every point in time, I had my up there so that since I wouldn't have any help from anybody, I'll still be able to write my notes and pass. And of course, not having friends as well that would want to subscribe to my practice. Imagine you're studying now, serial itofa, you're studying, and then I tell you, this exam, just me and God, though, or this exam, I've not covered all these things. I need to cover all these things in 1 week or 2 weeks before exam. And then you say, this exam, last, if we pass, we pass. If we fail, we fail, anyhow. You don't want to constantly hear those things. You want to hear possibilities. This is possible. We can do it. This, and if you're in 100 level and you're on this call, then this is just the best time to consciously, intentionally choose the kind of people you get to hear things from. Because the more you hear negative things, the more those things creep into your life and eventually become your reality. But another thing I want to ask, someone just asked in the chat box, is it still possible to graduate with a second class upper with a CGPA of 2.5 at 300 level? It's a 5 year course. Let me assume that this is your 300 level first semester. So is it possible, Cyril Itofa, is it possible that someone graduate with a second class upper with a CGPA, with a second class upper when currently the person has a CGPA of 2.5 and it's a 5 year course? So, yeah.
Yes, it's very possible. But okay. Cyril, you want to go first?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's very possible. But then there's something called, I'll just use any term. Like there's something called it's a way of like calculating the maximum possible CGPA you can graduate with. So from your 100 level first semester, I had some of these kind of sheets. From your 100 level first semester, you can sort of project that this is the maximum possible CGPA you can make, and then you can then start, compiling your efforts from there. So from 2.5 at 300 level, there's a maximum possible CGPA you can get. Even with a 2.5, if your courses from 300 level, 400 level, and 500 level are like maybe 3 credit units or like higher weight courses, it's even very possible to make it 4.5 or 4.6. But you just need to know what that maximum possible CGPA you can get to, what that value is, and then start working towards it. It might mean that from your 300 level, yeah, it might mean that from your 300 level up onto your 500 level, maybe you just have to be on 5.0 or A's or more A's and few B's. So you just need to know that maximum value. So it's very possible to get
Yeah.
into your university.
Thank you so much. I'll soon be going to the next question, but just to add to what you said, Cyril, it's important that you calculate, you have an expectation. Some people don't have expectations. You just start the semester, you don't have an expectation. You don't have an expected CGPA for the semester, or rather a GPA for the semester. And I don't think that's the right way to go. You must always have your expected. What am I expecting? I need a 5.0 this semester to get to 2.8, for instance. If I get this 5.0 next semester, I need at least a 4.9 to get to this. It's important that you break it down that way so you know the kind of effort to put in. But some people will just stay and say, oh, I'm on 2.5, by God's grace I'll graduate with a 2.1. It just doesn't work that way because you don't know the courses to prioritize. You don't know how to even study for these courses and all that. So you must have that clear plan. Oh, this is what I want to get. This is where what if I get this, this is where this would get me. And then you plan like that. So you don't just have a vision, but you just have steps. You have steps to follow through. So I'm going to the next question.
Exactly.
Please, Itofa, this is for you. Please, I
Yeah.
want to know how really one can go from nothing to becoming a global impact when everything around you is not encouraging at all. Please, can you give deliberate steps to take?
Awesome. Thank you, Abiye. So this person asking this question is Boma Balafama. I hope you're still on the call. And I want to give you a very interesting illustration, right? Because I can resonate with your story. Um, the truth is, what's currently stopping you is more mental than physical. I'll take that again. What's currently holding you back is more mental than physical. Stephen R. Covey, in his book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, came up with a concept called the law of double creation. Everything you see in your external is a product of your thoughts, your thought paradigm. So if you think scarcity, you create scarcity. If you think abundance, you create abundance. Now let's use the current device. If you're using your computer, Boma, or you're using anything, if you're using any device to listen to me now, let me give you a practical example. Take for instance this device I'm currently holding on my hand. My thoughts created this device, right? Neuroscience has shown that the images you currently have in your mind are more real than the current device you're using to listen to me now, and I'll prove it to you. The images you have in your mind are more real than the device you're holding, and the headphone Cyril is currently having on. The thoughts in his mind is more real, and I'll prove it to you. Have you seen movies where the actor dies and you are crying, and you know this guy didn't die in real life? Why were you crying? It's because your brain cannot differentiate between realism and fiction, or reality and fiction. Your brain doesn't have that cognitive ability to differentiate. So it's possible to trick your brain. It's called the Pygmalion effect. It's possible to trick your brain. So what do people do? They'll tell you, get a vision board, paste the things you want to see it tangibly. What are you doing? What you're doing is that you're trying to create and evoke emotions and feelings that you will have when you actually have these things. So you've never flown in an airplane before. Nobody in your family has ever been to an airport before, and then you download a picture of an airplane, you paste it in your room. Every morning you close your eyes, you imagine yourself seeing in the airplane, you feel it. The minute you begin to feel it, you've tricked your brain. Your brain will begin to create reality. Reality is an environment that will push you and gravitate people towards you. This thing I'm telling you is not magic, it's not voodoo, it's real. I just spoke at TEDx event in November 2020, 123, right? November
Yeah.
2022, my vision board, I put TEDx, I'll be a TEDx speaker on my vision board. I put it, I'll be a TEDx speaker. And every time I look at that vision board on my phone, I'll say, thank you, Lord. I will look at it, I'll imagine myself, I'll imagine my outfit. In October 2022, okay, November 2021, I did the vision board. October 2022, I was in Ireland. I was at McDonald's grabbing coffee with my friend in Ireland. And I opened my phone, I see an email from TEDx University of Benin. Subject was invitation to be a keynote speaker. I dropped my phone. I said, what just happened? How? Do you know what? I sent a signal to the universe. Now, my Christians, I placed a demand on God. I placed a demand. This is for everybody. You want to buy a car? I've seen mentors who said this thing. I'm telling you. Let me tell you, so this Boma who asked this question, how do you change your reality? Change what you are looking at. Change what you are saying. Right now, you're living in a one-room shared apartment where you are sharing toilet with 62 people. Change it. A day will come, you would own properties, you will give it to people. See it in your mind. Have a picture of your future. Let it be crystallized, imprinted in your mind. As I'm talking to you, this version of it of talking to you is not the version you'll meet next week. You know why? Because there's a picture of what my future looks like in my head. In my head. So when I'm relating and conversing with people, it doesn't matter what's going on in my reality. This is not what I saw. This cannot be what I saw. So, Boma, the answer is change what you're looking at around you. I'll share it finally. This is how I'm going to wrap up. If you live in Abuja, you probably know what Transcorp Hilton is. Transcorp Hilton is like one of the 5-star restaurants in Abuja. I told you guys that I was raised, I didn't grow up in opulence. Like I didn't have all of those things. The very first time my friends and I went to Transcorp Hilton, because what I was experiencing at that point was not aligning with my reality. So I went to Transcorp Hilton and I felt like somebody would come and like they would discover me and send me out. There was a part of me that didn't feel like I belong here. So I was in the elevator. When I see a security walking, I think the security guy is coming to tell me to get out of this place. Why? In my subconscious programming, something was ingrained that you don't belong here. Where did it come from? Because of scarcity, poverty. So I told myself, this place, it will become a regular place in my life. Don't worry. That day, we couldn't afford to buy anything. So we went the elevator. If we see somebody come, we'll change direction because we didn't want someone to send us out. The next time even when I was feeling that feeling of, bro, that somebody's going to discover you, they'll send you. I went there and said, I'm going to go and eat lunch in this place. This place is not made for people with two heads. It was made for people like me. And I would go. So I went there. I sat down. That feeling started again. You don't belong here. I will see security man coming. I will change my face so they don't come and discover me. Long story cut short, I went to that restaurant. Had lunch with my friend. Great experience. I met Governor Shonlu because I count people that go there. I met Governor Shonlu. I met Kobams. I met a couple of A-list artists and celebrities you will see because that's where they go to. What I had done was that I had conditioned my internal programming to believe that this was my reality. Guess what? If I was going to, then when I was going to go, I dry clean all my outfits. If I'm going again, I'll just wear flip-flop or Crocs. You know why? I've pushed beyond my environment. So final thing I'm going to tell Boma, anything you want, condition your environment to look like where you're going to. The YouTube videos you watch in the morning, let it be people that speak into your future. Don't just sit down and be listening to Brother Shaggy, listen to Burner Boy. They are great people, but ingrain something in your mind that will stretch you. That when you're even conversing, your thought paradigm is reflecting your future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. When you expose yourself to things that don't align with your direction, those things just start influencing the way you perceive your future, and eventually you'd not be able to achieve what you want to achieve. If you
Yeah.
want to be an Oprah Winfrey kind of woman, I don't think that you'd be associating yourself with a Nigerian Afro pop artist. You listen to that artist in the morning, listen in the afternoon, listen to in the evening, but in your mind, you want to be an Oprah Winfrey. How is that possible? You want to be, you want to be like John Maxwell, and in the morning you open Twitter, it's the bants and the rants. You just catching cruise. You just catch cruise the whole day, sleep and wake up the next day, and in your head, I'm in John Maxwell. It just doesn't happen that way. And by the way, I should say this. So I listened to something from Apostle Joshua Selman, and he was saying something that, let's say you're 30 years old and you like to sleep. I've forgotten how many years he said that, how many hours he said, like when you sleep like 8 hours in a day or so, from what he was calculating, and you sleep like that for like 30 years, it means that from his calculation, even if I'm not going to confirm that, but of course, it's Apostle Selman. He said that you must have slept for like 10 years of your life. So at the end of the day, you have lived just 20 years out of 30. If you slept for like eight hours, I'd be 9 hours every day. I think I saw that video yesterday. And I was just like, interesting. It's not like sleep is bad. And he said that, but as young people, we are at the stage of our lives where we can inconvenience ourselves to push. Just because I want to achieve, I wouldn't sleep now. Just because I want to achieve, I wouldn't watch this. Just because I want to achieve, I'll spend like 10 minutes of my time or 20 minutes of my time in the morning doing this because I know that it's in line with where I want to go. Still on this thing about global perception and global achievement. Cyril, I'd like you to say a bit about this. You are an international scholar. What do you have to say about this? How can someone push beyond their environment and go into the global space to thrive?
Okay, thank you very much, Abiye. Yeah, so just like what Itof has already said, mindset really matters a lot. In a way, your mindset can it can create an imaginary stumbling block at an opportunity
Mm,
that's already yours. So I'll give you an example. I think it was sometime in my undergrad. There was something I was supposed to do, either like a competition or something. Yeah, there was a competition we were supposed to go for. And we were very well prepared, but the team we were up against had already won the competition the previous year. And I think they had already traveled outside the country the previous year. So we were more prepared, like we were the best team at the tournament. But when it got to the point where we were just about to win them, we went into a tiebreaker and we lost just because our minds were still, we hadn't really conditioned our minds that we were going to win this, that this was ours to win.
mm,
Another team again, another example I'll give is there's this football team called Tottenham. Who knows Tottenham? Like they play football, English Premier League. So you notice that Tottenham has been doing really, really well in the last couple of years, but there's something always happens to them when they get to like major finals or something. It's just an inch for them to clinch the title, and their mindset starts working on them again. So with respect to global impact, I think if possible, spend a lot of time working on your mindset. Just
Yes.
spend quality time working on your mind, working on your mindset. If you can already start looking at videos, like just start working on your mind so that when the opportunity is right before you, you can have all the preparation in the world, but then your mind comes in again. Just when you're about to just cut loose, just at the finishing line, your mind comes in again. Maybe you're about to sit for the GRE or the TOEFL, your mind again. You've prepared for like 4, 5, 6 months, and then your mind comes in again, and you're like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? And the test result comes out, and it's not what you expected. But then you tutor other people that did very, very well. And for those other people, maybe in their families, they had people who have, they frequent, different countries. And so their mind, they already live in that realm. But for you, it's now something where you have to, you have to condition yourself. And like, it's something you have to make a conscious effort about. And I
Yeah.
always resort to prayers like, God, please help me. Let my mind not be the stumbling block. Let my,
Yeah.
Mm,
just give me the ability to see that you're taking me somewhere and to conceive that idea and
mm,
believe that I can get there. And it's not just me taking myself there, but it's your mighty hand taking myself there. So for global impact, I'll say the mind. There's this book, I think, Battlefield of the Mind. There's also, right and wrong thinking. Like you can see people who are very well prepared. They have all it takes to make global impact. They have the talent, they have the anointing, they have everything, but then the mind comes in again. So I'd say
mm,
as much as possible, work on your mind. And yeah, preparation is also very important as well, because
yeah.
it doesn't just stop at having the right mindsets,
Yeah.
living in your room or in your bedroom and just saying, ah, I will be great, I will be great. And then when it comes to
Just
9
imagine
p.m.,
greatness.
yeah, and when it's now 9 p.m. or 12 midnight, oh God, wake up and read, and you're like, don't worry, I'll be great. I know I'll be great. I know I'll be great. I was reading something, or was it a video I was watching about how the late Michael Jackson, he would practice for how many hours or something. Yeah, he would practice for a couple of hours. And there's this book on outliers where you need
Yeah.
to dedicate a certain number of hours for you to
10,000 hours.
break. Yeah, 10,000 hours for you to break forth. So yes, so for some people it's the mind. For some other people it's now the preparation. There's this funny. I'll just stop with this funny video I saw on someone's WhatsApp status where the guy was sleeping, and then he saw his teacher marking his exam scripts. And let me just demonstrate it with my hand. And he saw something, when you're marking and then you see a very big zero or something, So the guy was sleeping very well. He was very comfortable. And then all of a sudden, he saw the very big zero. When he saw the big zero, he woke up shouting, "Yay!" And then he went to get his bucket, put his legs inside water, and started studying. So mindset, preparation, and please, God. God is very important. God is the man who is the one who gives us the impact. And yeah, the impact is of God. We're just vessels, basically.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think I should contribute here, right? A lot of persons that I notice this thing about mindset, because you were not an A flying person in secondary school, you take that perception of yourself to the university. So you approach your studies with a phobia for academics. You're like, "Ah, this
Mm.
academic thing is not for me." But the truth is that there is nobody that is just made. God created everyone with abilities to understand. But I understand
Yeah.
that when one has trained, it's just like the muscles. If I've been lifting weights, I would have muscles, yeah. So it's the same way if I've been studying over time, just by looking at this phone, maybe just reading a material for 5 minutes, I should be able to get a bit of it. But someone that hasn't been studying for so long may pick up this thing and still take like 2 hours or 1 hour to understand what I could understand in 5 minutes. So in a
Yes.
classroom,
Hmm.
someone that has been exposed to information from their secondary school may find it easy to understand certain concepts that may be
Yeah.
difficult to grasp, but that doesn't mean that there is something wrong with you. That
Yeah.
you can understand something at a goal because of
Yeah.
his foundation doesn't mean that if I start now and start studying, I wouldn't understand it. Fine, understand. We are not dragging who understood first, yeah. They don't award, oh, Cyril, you understood this concept first. Therefore, you have an A star. We don't okay, okay. It's over is saying something in the chat, but now the truth is that you can do as much as you want to, regardless of whatever foundation that you have, right? It's about you adapting yourself to whatever you are exposed to and opening yourself to release that information. And I'm told that it's called neuroplasticity. So just expose yourself to the right information and push yourself to study. You you may have to study for like 8 hours.
Hmm.
Some Mr. A may study for like 2 hours and go to bed. But
Yeah.
you didn't have that kind of foundation. If you study, and that's why it's important, you know the kind of persons you study with. You can't be studying with the kind of Mr. Serial that will study for 2 hours and sleep, and you will now follow him and be sleeping in 2 hours time. You have to find a balance. Your reading partners, they should be people that can push you to stretch. That person that even if the person is smart, the person wants to read and read and read more. Those are the kind of persons you need to study with so that you can find that balance and just push and just excel. Tomorrow we'll be talking much more. I wish Radiance had a session today, but she couldn't. She would have been saying things about business and all that. But we still have questions concerning this whole, okay, not academics now. Someone is asking, Itofa, did you get your NGO? No, did you get registered as an NGO at the beginning stage of your initiative?
When we started off, I was in 200 level at the University of Benin, so we didn't have the money to do any registration. So we just kept running. So this is the interesting thing. Nigeria has a very favorable policy. In Nigeria, you can run your NGO without being registered. However, where the downside is that you can't open a corporate bank account. So meaning you can't have an account in XYZ organization's name. You also need to get a certificate from EFCC called SCUMO. You need to get your CAC certificate. So we were not registered. We didn't have all that more kind of money. So we just kept going and kept going. That's what I tell young nonprofit founders: learn to build your social equity and your sweat equity. What I mean by that is just keep working, doing as much as you can, because the time will come where it's from those repertoire, from those evidence you've of things you've done that will galvanize people to want to support your work to register. Right. So just keep going, keep going, keep doing the ones you can do. The day you now have the money or you now need money, when you call people that look, we've done this. Imagine when we're now registered, we can do more. So don't let it stop you. But if you're in places like the US, the UK, America, China, you have to be registered, and the registration process is so easy. In Nigeria, it's very they've made it very, very stringent right now in Nigeria, because it happens that fraudsters now use non-profit registration because they are tax exemptive to
Yeah,
be squandering money.
yeah.
So so there's so much strictness now. You need to get EFCC certificate, you need to get CAC certificate, you need to get tax identification number. It's a long process, but it's possible. It's possible.
Okay, great. Track record. That just brings me to track record, right? What have you done over time? Before I would invest in what you're doing, Itofa, before I
Yeah.
invest in your initiative, I want to know what you've done,
Done.
right?
Yes.
Nobody will just entrust funds to you when they've not
Yeah.
seen what you've been able to use. If, for instance, you have 10,000 naira and you're
Yes.
not able to tell me what that 10,000 naira has done for you or how you've been
Yeah.
able to use this 10,000 naira to cause a change. I don't think I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you 100,000 naira. I don't think I'll
No.
give you 1 million naira because you'd
No.
waste it. But when you're able to do that to show track record, when you want to register or when you need support, they would be able to see that, oh yes, this is a genuine person. This
Yeah.
person has been doing other things, and if we register their non-profit, they are going to do much more. Because I know that
Yes.
without registration, you would not get funding for some projects and all. But
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
registration, you can apply for certain things, just as you said, and you'd get that attention. But without registration, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Delight, you should keep doing stuff in your space. And when you
Yeah.
eventually want to get registered, and yes, of course, Itofa, and I've loved that you mentioned capturing moments, like
Yeah.
saving the memories,
Yeah.
pictures, documentaries, like what you do, because they are
Yeah.
proof. I'm not just telling you, oh, this is what I did. I'm showing you
Yeah.
the proof, like this is what I did.
Evidence. Yeah. Yeah. Very
Yes.
powerful. In fact, that call to us to capture this moment so that when we're telling them in Forbes that once upon a time. Yeah.
Okay, that's true. I'll go to the next question now. Is it possible for someone with a CDP of 3.1 at the end of 400 level first semester to graduate with 2-1 for a 5-year course? I think this question is quite repetitive, and it seems that maybe people don't know how to calculate their CGPAs. So perhaps Cyril could just take us like a rundown on CGPA calculation or something, so that we can clear this whole, if is it possible for someone to graduate with this at this level and all that. Just take us like a crash course on CGPA calculation so people know how to plan as well.
Okay, should I do it now or tomorrow as part of? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Okay. So I understand that CGPA, like cumulative grade point average. So you can already tell that there is an average of something and it's cumulative. So the idea is that at every level, after every semester and after every level, what you get the next semester is added on to the previous one. So for this question, I think what I'll do tomorrow is to just prepare like a quick slide or an auxiliary slide that will just show you how to get like your maximum possible CGPA, or I could send that out as a document to maybe people who have registered. Just something that shows you how to get a maximum possible CGPA, or even a
Yeah.
template that you can walk around and just impute all the grades that you think you might make before you graduate, and just
Yes.
know what you can
So I
graduate with as
suggest
well.
so I suggest something. I suggest
Mm,
something serial. So you know that we had over 300 persons register for this. Some people
yeah.
just register for things with the hype of, oh, they're doing this. Let me just register. Let me just register. Let me look serious with my life. You know when
Mm,
you know when someone you respect just sends you a flyer, you're like, let me register for this thing. Let it be that I'm serious with my life. And then you don't come on the call because now I
yeah.
think we just have 12 persons watching. So
Mm,
I would want that we take the people on the call seriously. So
yeah.
Mm.
what I like that we do is that you prepare the slide, just save it on your Google Drive. Tomorrow on the call, we share the link so people can
Okay.
save
Yeah.
it and like access it later, not sending it to the 300 persons that would know
Mhm.
what the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
CGPA tracker sheet is for. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that works
I
better
think that would
actually.
be a better thing to do. Yes, that works better. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I think that would be better that we take that tomorrow, so everybody will be able to
Yeah.
follow. So going to the next question, what practical steps can one take as an NGO founder? I think this is too far. What practical steps can one take as an NGO founder in a bid to groom the organization and make it globally relevant in due course? Now I'm
Okay.
really
So
talking about a consciously visionary founder.
yeah, basically it's simple. You need to continue to learn. You because your organization is only going to be as global as your mind is global. So if you're leading a let's say, Dr. A group of lion led by a sheep would be defeated by a group of sheep led by a lion. So it's about the mindset. So continue to learn and grow and teach yourself. Learn, have what I call point of references, global organizations that are doing something very similar to your organization. Glean from them, see the methodologies, the strategies they are applying, how they are telling their stories. Very important. Very Abiye spoke. Look, there was a time when we were doing our project with 3,000 naira. You know what 3K is? 3K. We're using 3K to plan projects, to go give stationaries to kids, speak to them about career development. We tell them they can touch the world. Only 3K we could afford. A time came when we could go and partner to build a whole school for 250 children. It's in steps and it's in stages and it's in phases, right? So like I'll say to this person, make sure your mind is learning. I currently run like a consulting services where we teach and train teams. We teach non-founders. I wrote a book. Buy the book or get the book. If you're among the first three, you get the book for free. Read, open your mind. A day will come when you meet your destiny helper and you say, this is what we do. This is our theory of change. This is how we're trying to solve the global hunger crisis in Nigeria. And we've designed this template to help to increase the children. Are you serious? We have this $10,000 chilling somewhere. how can this help you? Say, oh, this is what we could do. We want to design a software that can help us track the children. We also want to design our first mobile food kitchen. We don't have a mobile food kitchen in Nigeria. They'll say, no, 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 no. This girl knows what she's talking about. Why? Because you've been learning, you've been growing, and you've been grooming yourself.
Hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Itofa, you know what you
Yes.
just said just brought something to mind. People are
Mm,
looking for where to invest their money. There are some
yeah.
persons that can't go out doing outreaches and all
Yeah.
that. They are just
No.
sponsors. They want to
Yeah.
sponsor projects. They want to sponsor people who have the blueprint to help their community. So if
Yeah.
you've not been able to do anything in your community, in your space, don't be waiting to go to Nasarawa State to reach out to them. You can start from that university where you're in
Yes.
and do
Yes.
something. Locate those people that share the same vision with you. And so association is also very important. There's some people you share your visions to, and they'll say, you say you want to go feed people for Nasarawa State and you they hungry like this. They'll just yab you and
Wrong,
just
wrong people.
honestly, and that goes, imagine you tell your vision, and that vision is actually from God, and you tell it to that kind of person that just waters it down and make it feel like you're in a wrong space. Immediately, it's just gonna be like you are not doing the right thing, and it has a way of killing that potential. So please know who you share your visions to. Share your visions with people. I said something. You can't share global visions with local people.
Mm-mm.
If you want to
No,
share
sir.
global visions, share them with global people. I remember when I told Itofa about this. When I told Cyril about it, when I told Radiance about it, specifically, people were asking on the when we asked for questions, people were saying, "Oh, this A game plan, what is it about?" So let me just give you a brief story of how it all came about. When I first received the vision, I know that myself and Radiance, we talk once in a while. We just talk about okay, plans we have, goals we have, and if we are procrastinating too much, we'll be like, Radiance, this one you're delaying like this. We'll just tease each other about it and we'll be able to strategize and just run with our visions. So when I thought about setting up a forum to mentor undergrads, she
Yeah.
we discussed about the name I had. I'll check my notes if I'll still find where that name is. The first name that I had. And when I sent it to her, she said, this name, the name is not sounding well to her. That the vision is there, but she feels like we should refine the name. So I said, okay, fine. We got to talk about it later. I think we attended Koinonia, one of Koinonia meetings, and we got to talk about it again. And we reviewed the name. And somehow, by the grace of God, the A game plan just came. I'm like, oh, the A game plan. That sounds good. That sounds good. Imagine I told someone that I want to mentor undergrads and the person didn't have the same visions with me. The person will not care if the name sounded good or the name didn't sound good or whatever it is. Oh yeah, now since you want to, yeah, go and inspire and go and motivate. It just ends there. But having those
Mm.
kind of people in your lives, know the kind of people you have in your community is very important. I've been told that Cynthia is here. Cynthia is here. And if she's here, she can also come on the call. So we just summarize. I think time is fast running out. Time is fast running out. So very quickly, I would ask Cyril and Itofa, starting from you, Cyril, if you were to if you were to go back to the university, what is that one thing that you know that you would do better? If you were to go back to undergrad, what is that one thing, or what are those things that you
Okay.
know that you do better? Yeah.
Okay. Thank God you said those things. Thank God you said those things because I was thinking, which one should I choose? Which one should I choose first? Um, I'll say the first thing for me would be identity, number one. Um, Understanding my identity, like knowing myself. So yes, I did quite well in secondary school. In the eyes of other people, I was like a very good student, you know, A student and everything. But within myself, I'd say my identity was quite far-fetched. I didn't really know much about my identity. I didn't know much
Mm.
about the kind of things I wanted to do, my study patterns. I didn't really know a lot about that, and even where I wanted to take some of my academic goals to, like the extent I wanted to take some of my academic goals to. So that's identity. And of course, um, sorry, for every statement I make, I have to, I'm not apologizing, but for every statement I make, I have to, link it back to God. And this identity thing, it's very, very much God centered as well. Because it's
Yeah.
in God that, God reveals your study patterns to you. He reveals to you what to do with every opportunity you get. The
Mm.
second thing for me would be my social life. There were a lot of programs, there were a lot of organizations I just wish I'd been a part of. For example, Enactus. I went to Uniport, so Enactus Uniport. There's this group, Ions group. There's some very, very interesting groups around the university campus that I wish I'd joined. There's
Mm.
also is it ASEC? ASEC.
I said, yeah.
Yeah, ASEC. So I wish I'd joined that one as well, because I realized now I'm meeting people who were part of these groups, and I see some of the amazing things they're doing, and also some of the opportunities they got from there that probably would have helped my mind at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't have done so badly in that competition, mind wise, if I had, already started being a part of all these associations from, okay, if I'd already started being a part of all these associations from my
Yeah.
100 level or from my 200 level. And it would have also helped me map a sort of trajectory for myself, because when you join an association in your 100 level, it helps you see people like in 200 who are doing well, in 300, 400. So you can start to map up a trajectory for yourself. Like, okay, this guy did it. That means I can do it. So you're not just running on that secondary school feel that that ginger from secondary school, but you
Mentality.
can now see, yeah, it's like a way for you to now sort of like what's the word now, to estimate or to just project the next levels that you have. Then another thing
Yeah.
I wish I had done better is in terms of maybe just taking my leadership activities more seriously. Because yeah, I did quite a lot of things. I did some things on leadership and mentorship as well, but I was still very my own, just trying to I was just trying to mind my business, just read my book, but then it wasn't. There were so many things Uniport had to offer that I could have been a part of. Sports as well. I used to do sports and all those kind of things back then in secondary school. But when I got into uni, I was just fired up with the idea of, well, let me just go to school and graduate very well. But I could have done a lot more actually. So these are some areas. I'm just saying there's something else I forgot, but these are some of the key areas I wished I'd done. If I had to go back, I probably would have done a few tweaks here and there,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the friendships. Even in my own introverted self at the time, I'm still thankful for the kind of friendships I made, and also some friendships I'm making now, like it's so far. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful.
Think global it's over.
Awesome.
We'll be
Awesome.
rounding up
So
the
is it
call
my
very
turn?
soon. Yeah, it's over, please. A minute. So Cynthia, I'm told that Cynthia is on. So if Cynthia could come up as well, even if she can't turn on her video. So she has a thing or two. Yes, that is academic excellence in person. Even if you can't see Cynthia. Cynthia was the best, or she's the best graduating student of the University of Ibadan Pharmacy School, and she graduated with
Mm.
a
Wow.
6.9 out of 7.0 CGPA. 6.9
Wow.
out of 7.0. So if you, I mean, we should just clap. So when I saw Cynthia's award ceremony on LinkedIn, it was so funny. Like Cynthia, Cynthia just went to stand. They gave me okay, best in A. Okafor Cynthia Chidera. Best in B, Okafor Cynthia Chidera. Best in C, Okafor Cynthia Chidera. They just continued on and on and on. And if someone was in that space, you know that moment when your parents will ask you, "Is she not your mate?" That that's the kind of that's the kind of that's the kind of awards that she had on her graduation. And it's such an honor to have Cynthia on the call. Good evening, Cynthia. Can you just say hello?
Good evening, Abiye. Thank you so much for the speakers. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Cynthia. Then we are asking a question. Itofa would answer his, and then you'd answer yours. So the question is, if you were to go back to undergrad, what are those things that you feel that you would do better with the exposure and knowledge you have now? So Itofa, over to you.
All right. So as you guys are all talking about first class, first class, first class, I want to make a very public declaration. I graduated with a second class lower degree, right? And I just graduated in 2021. I graduated with a second class lower degree. So let's, for people who are watching who feel like hope is lost, let me be the person that will give you hope here. Because my two brothers are first class fire people. Cynthia Tuna is first class fire people. So, but I left the university with a second class. And just hearing you guys even have and share your conversation, I realized that I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have any expectation. I just went into school. And guess the interesting thing, I was so good. You can hear me talking. I'm so sound.
Absolutely.
I was teaching my class. I was
Speak
teaching
on
people in my
things.
upper class. But the problem I had was that I didn't even know how to, even up to now, I still don't know how to calculate my CGPA. I don't know how to calculate it. It was when I was started applying for my scholarship. I saw my transcript and I saw that I graduated with a 3.49. And I was like, I did 3.4. I don't know, 3.4 something, I left the university with, right? But then at the end of the day, it shouldn't stop you, right? For anybody here, it shouldn't stop you. It shouldn't, I mean, you've heard me share my story and all the things we've been able to do. It shouldn't stop you. If I go back to uni, what would I change? Not really, not a lot, but maybe if I had someone that could guide me and say, look, Itofa, you're studying very hard, but you're studying the wrong way. I used to spend 8 hours in the library, so, but it was all just misdirected energy. I used to teach my class, I used to do all those stuff. I wish somebody was there to guide me and tell me this is how you're supposed to do it, this is how you're supposed to do it, this is how you're supposed to do it here, and I probably would have scaled through. But aside that, I don't have any regrets. All the risk I took, there were times I left tests. I didn't write tests. I went to attend conference, workshop in school. MTN came to do a workshop in my school. It was called MTN Campus Invasion. They brought Kelechi Amadiobi, that's like the number one photographer in Nigeria. They brought Steve Harris and a couple of guys, consultants. I say, consultants. And they say, we have zoology test today. I said, forget the zoology test. One test will not make me fail. That was how radical I was in my mind. I left the test. I went to the conference. I sat from the beginning to the end. These guys shared their story. When I left that conference crying, I said, I cannot be a non-entity to my generation. That was the only thing I was saying to myself. So I really do not have any regrets. I took a lot of risk. I would leave class for speaking gig to go and speak to people. Like I'll get invited to come and speak in like maybe church, small churches, FYB. They'll say, Tufa, come and speak to us. Then I'll leave my class to go and speak to them. When I leave, and I'll say, just take this 500 naira, just take it. Or they'll send me 200 naira recharge card as thank you. There was one I went to speak in one church, right? They wanted me to go and speak to their FYB. They gave me chicken republic rice without drink or water. They just say, well, thank you for coming. Take, 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 take. But to the glory of God now, what I was doing was I was building sweat equity. When I stood at University College Dublin in Ireland to speak, it was, it was practicing all the things that I've been doing. Or when I'm going to stand, or when I spoke at TEDx, for instance, now it was, practicing all of those practice and all of those things have brought me here. So I don't really have any regrets, but probably if I had an academic mentor, it would have helped.
Mm, Thank you so much, Itofa. So at the end of the day, I want to ask, was there any first class graduate speaking at the TEDx event, TEDx University of Benin?
Well, nobody actually said they graduated with first class, so I don't really have that information. Nobody actually said that they graduated with a first class. Maybe they would have been, but I don't know.
But then, what I want to say
Yeah,
is that for people in final year that maybe are not on first class CGPAs, don't feel like, oh, something is wrong with you or all hope is
yeah,
lost. I think the best thing is realizing where you are, starting
Yeah.
from there and making a change, finding mentorship. And that's why this platform and this space is there to provide that mentorship that Itofa was talking about. So, leading to Cynthia's own talk on what you do better if you were to go back to undergrad. Cynthia, will you leave your zoology test for a speaking engagement? Cynthia.
I can't try it. I'm sorry. I did a lot of things in school, but definitely for me, I don't school in somewhere else and then spent a few months at home. I was about getting the education right and then coming out. So yes, but then if I don't think there was anything I missed out in school. I participated in beauty pageantry, and for me, all I just needed to see was, oh, there's one lady, she's a female, she's on a 6.8 CGPA, and that possible. So I'm applying then. So I just got the form. So I'm going to put in for Miss Pharmacy and see if I can would be then. So let me just see if I can combine being smart and being pretty. So I did that. It worked. Done. Okay. There's this lady that is also on the first class, and then she's into L&D. Well, so I just started to go into debating, tried it, and I just resting my school to go to other schools to do debates, winning awards, winning money, all those kind of things. So I was just really all about trying stuff. I went into sports, but just like how many a silver medal came out. So I was just entering stuff coming out. I just wanted to see how much this do. So I don't think there was anything I really missed. If I could correct something to school, it would be worrying less. I used to worry a lot as a student, so it would be worrying less. I think
What
that's
kind
all.
what kind of worry do you mean? For me, I could relate to the part of worrying. If I should write a test today and I miss, instead of writing a solution, I went to write a problem. Hey, like instead of the word solution, just in case, like I just write something contrasting and I didn't write that thing well, I would think about that thing. People will say, Abiye, forget, you can't rewrite this exam. I'm like, I understand. But then I would have written. So I used to worry that way as well. And I wish that if I went back to school, I think I would not do that as well. Because when it was much later, I just realized that at the end of the day, you can't change what you've written. So write what you've written or leave what you've written and just look forward to the others. So we have some questions here. But I think Cyril will be talking about these things tomorrow. Cyril, someone is saying, what would be your advice to someone who just got admitted for a master's study program outside Nigeria in light of researching academic excellence and volunteering? I don't know if you will be talking about that so much tomorrow, or you'd want to just shed a bit of light on that. And yeah, so just respond, please.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Admitted for a master's study program outside Nigeria in light of researching academic excellence and volunteerism. So, when I was speaking about some of the things I wish I'd done better, or if I had the chance to go back here, I mentioned things about identity, involvement in other activities. So, when I went for my master's, I I made up for my undergraduate experience. So I was involved in not just my studies, right? I was involved in not just my research, but I was also involved in volunteering and also some activities around the UK at the time. So my advice would be um, find a balance. First, know yourself. You're not in Nigeria. You're in another country. That shouldn't create a sort of it shouldn't over energize you to do something because you're African or because you're not from that country. But it should help you to reframe your mindset to understand that, whatever you do, people would want to reference. But then it shouldn't change your goals. And when you're finding that balance, you need to find time to research and look for a research topic that, okay, for example, the fact that you're from Nigeria doesn't mean you should do something with respect to Nigeria. There should be like room for your passion to still speak. So when I was doing my research in my master's, there were a lot of things I could do about the Niger Delta, oil and gas and everything, but I didn't do any of those things. My case study was now based on the North Sea, which is in the UK, right? So your research and everything should be from a global perspective. Don't say, oh, okay, I got this opportunity. Let me, unless you wrote that in your statement of purpose, then you have to, you can't lie now. You're a child of God, you can't lie. Then with respect to academic excellence, this is where your Nigerian mindset should come in. The aspect of you not falling hands, so to say. So when it comes to academic excellence, just ensure that for everything you're doing with your colleagues, with your classmates, you're always at the top of your game, always listening to what the lecturer is saying, being like leading some group discussions or some group projects. If nobody wants to take on the task, because you want to get the most out of that task, and in cases where maybe you're studying in another language, maybe in Germany or Spain or France, because you have to put in more effort, it's better off if you take up the position as a leader of that project so that you have time to learn more about it than the others and even present it in their language or just present it for them. And yeah, volunteerism. I think volunteerism is where it's something that just creates that cushioning effect. During my masters, I did quite a lot of volunteering. I did a lot of programs that it was as if I was angry with myself. Like, of course, I was expressing that sort of that little anger of not doing some of those things back then in undergrad. But I did a lot of volunteering, and it exposed me to some of my potentials because some of the things I was now doing, they were things that would, give me the privilege of representing my uni, meeting people from other universities across the UK and globally. And I was like, oh, if I'd done some of these things back then maybe it would have helped to create that balanced lifestyle. So I'd say it's an opportunity for you to think globally. It's not just an opportunity that you were given to maybe help your family or to to write it somewhere that somebody went to so it's not. It's an opportunity for you to position yourself globally as a human being, as a global citizen, so that you would have like a global perspective to things, not just who was the first man from Nigeria to do this or who was no.
Mm.
So that's
Thank you,
my
sir.
advice. Maybe
Thank
I'll
you.
speak more about it tomorrow as well, as
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
my
yeah.
speech.
And even the last question talking about preparatory steps you'd advise an undergrad to take in readiness rather for grad school opportunities, one with multiple skills that would like to narrow them down to only important ones. I don't know if you want to take that tomorrow, or can you just say a bit of that now?
Preparatory steps. So, okay. So this is part of the presentation for tomorrow. So what I would just say, I'll still speak more about it. One with multiple skills, I'd like to narrow them down to only important ones. So if you're planning to, if you're planning for graduate scholarship opportunities, one thing I just want to put in your mind tonight is start start preparing your document, like all your documents, and like start thinking if there are things that maybe you didn't think they would have served as hurdles before. Start preparing yourself to overcome them. For example, something as simple as, okay, something like an international passport. You'd realize someone would be thinking of, leaving the country or going outside for studies, and then they haven't done the international passport yet, or the one they have is expiring. So from that point, that's when you're already preparing your mind that I am leaving the country. So maybe you can start from there and then start gathering all the other documents. But okay, one other thing is try as much as you can to research on the opportunity you're looking out for. Research on the scholarship, research on the school, research on, try as much as you can to research. Spend a lot of time. During my time, I must have spent close to a year, but not, it wasn't like I was researching every day, but I must have spent close to a year just researching, like looking out for schools, scholarships. There are scholarships I dug out then that people will never believe people apply for those opportunities. So your research skills are very important. Google is your friend, and yeah, get all your documents ready. I had my passport in 2019, or yeah, 2019, but then I left Nigeria in 2020. But by 2019, I already had it. So yeah, I'll speak more about it tomorrow by the grace of
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, I'd like to like know what you're thinking. If you know that you've learned so much, can we just see it in the chat box? Can we just see it in the chat box? Thank you so much, Cyril. Thank you, Itofa. Thank you, Cynthia, for that amazing QA session. I'm grateful. Tomorrow we'll be having Cyril do his presentation as well as Cynthia. And trust me, you don't even want to miss it. Cyril is an international scholar. He graduated with a distinction from Imperial College. I should tell you something. So today at the office, someone took my phone and the person was going through the bios of the speakers for this event, and they saw that you, Cyril, you attended Imperial College. I'm like, are you serious? He attended Imperial College. And the person said, oh, the person tried getting into this school, but it wasn't possible, and all that. To show you the quality of speaker we have, he's joining us from the UK, so he'll be speaking to us on how to prepare for grad school opportunities. For if you want to pursue your master's and PhD abroad, what should you be looking at? What are the opportunities that exist? He's going to be telling us more about that. And then I called Cynthia the best, the overall best of the overall best graduating students. So Cynthia is going to be talking to us on academic excellence. So for someone to have bagged almost all the awards at her graduation, and she graduated with a 6.9 out of 7.0 CGPA from pharmacy school, not just any other school, pharmacy school. It is no jokes, and you should join in tomorrow to learn more about that. Please, if you know people who registered for this event, do well to tell them to join in for tomorrow, because for tomorrow it's going to be the last day, and then we start the actual mentorship platform. Some persons ask, oh, what is the A game plan about? The A game plan is simply, the A game plan is an event, this event we're organizing, but the A game circle, that's why we asked in the registration. The A game circle is the mentorship network where we'll create a community. It will be on, we'll have a group on Telegram, so that as we grow, we can accommodate as much persons as want to join, and they would also be able to see things that happened previously. So Telegram is the best platform for that. But creating that community for undergrads who want to excel at all fronts, creating that community for them, creating that community for research as well. For those persons that would like to do research, you can collaborate with people all over Nigeria and all over the world as God helps us grow. So do well to join in tomorrow, because it's going to be very enlightening. I myself, I'm looking forward to a lot of knowledge from the speakers, and I'm sure that you are looking forward to that as well. The registration for this event has closed, so there'll be no need sharing the link because we ended the registration. But if you know anyone who registered for this event, you'd have to tell them to join in tomorrow, because it's going to be very enlightening. Cyril, for those persons who don't even know how to calculate their CGPAs, maybe you're in your 100 level, Cyril is going to be sharing us a material that will help us understand that better. So it's nothing you should miss. I want to say a very big thank you to you for staying with us from the beginning up until now, which is the end for today. I want to say God bless you. Have a lovely night and see you tomorrow. Don't forget to share on social media what you've learned from this event. Share it everywhere on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on WhatsApp. Share it everywhere and tell them what you've been part of and what God has helped us do and learn today. See you tomorrow. Have a very good evening. Bye.